is a segue into the Nuggets. The Nuggets have been an absolute disaster lately, obviously. 4 straight losses. They currently find themselves only a half game out of the play-in tournament, only because they've played one more game. They're 17 and a half games back of the Thunder. Again, you have this 14 clump that's 18. So, interesting times ahead for the Nuggets, who lost last night to the Pacers. They've lost 4 in a row. That crazy Timberwolves loss felt like a gut punch of epic proportions. A bad Spurs loss to the Warriors, and then Pacers loss last night. Man alive. So the Jamal Murray, let's start here before we get into the game last night, because I have my thoughts and opinions. One of my main takeaways from last night is just like, oh man, this Nuggets team is so fucking cooked. If Jamal Murray's just not playoff Jamal Murray, because you're just relying on a band of misfits, basically, right? Michael Porter Jr. feels like he's turned into a pumpkin completely. Christian Brown's been fantastic this season. It's kind of funny because if you were to go back, if you were to take a time machine from the start of the season or from the end of the season, go back to the start of the season, be like, hey, Christian Brown, like real legitimate most improved player candidate, has games where he's dropping 25 points, dropped 30 yesterday, career high. You'd be like, oh shit. So Denver is good, right? Denver is good. And yet, that's not the case. And you were to say, yeah, Jokic is having probably the best season of his career. You'd say, oh man, are the Nuggets like in contention for the 1 seed? Instead, it's all crumbling and falling apart. The Jamal Murray situation. They need Jamal Murray. They need Jamal Murray badly in the playoffs if they want a real legitimate chance to win. Here's the problem. Here was Michael Malone's comments about Jamal Murray yesterday. Michael Malone on Jamal Murray. Hopefully he's able to be back by the playoffs. Keep in mind, that's a week away. And for the Denver Nuggets, that's potentially a week away from a playing game. This has been a weird one. It was day-to-day. The next thing you know, it's not day-to-day. So the Jamal Murray situation has taken a turn for the worst. Keep in mind, huge contract extension for Jamal Murray. I think Swipe had a tweet up here. If Jamal Murray is not healthy, this will be the 4th playoffs in the last 5 seasons that the Nuggets will have lost Jamal Murray not being 100%. Will have lost due to Jamal Murray not being 100%. I don't want that for him. It's just hard to imagine with a lingering hamstring injury that he's not fully back from yet, that a week from now he'll be ready and good to go. Just struggle to see that as a reality. Hasn't played since March 26th. We know that he had been trending in the right direction from a performance perspective. Had been playing better. The problem is he's kind of inconsistent, up and down. They need him to be Jamal Murray of old if they want to have a realistic chance to win anything this year. And now he's potentially out. They lose last night to the Pacers, 125-120. As I mentioned, they've lost 4 straight games. Jokic over those 4 games. This is what's really kind of concerning. Jokic set out the Spurs game that they lost. But in the 3 losses that he's played in of the last 4, that included a 61-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist game against the Minnesota Timberwolves in that double overtime loss, heartbreaker. 33, 12, and 9 on 13 of 17 shooting in their loss against the Warriors. And 41, 15, and 13 last night against the Pacers in their loss. It's kind of interesting because the Lakers, it felt like when the Lakers beat the Nuggets a little bit after the Luka trade, and they threw that defensive scheme at them where they were just throwing bodies and bodies and bodies and bodies at Jokic. Someone else has to beat us. It felt like, okay, there's a blueprint right there. There's the blueprint to beat Jokic. and to beat this Nuggets team. Over the past few games, it feels like, really for the past month or so, it feels like teams are like, all right, Jokic, you can score. You can score. Because we do not have faith that anyone else in your team is really going to come along for the ride, one, and really make us pay. Two, we feel like we can just score on your team whenever the fuck we want. Like, we feel like we can score on your team at will. It doesn't matter to us if we get into a shootout with you because we feel like we can survive the shootout. Where'd you get that sweater? No clue. It's just a gray sweatshirt. Abercrombie, maybe? Does that sound right? So that's why I love your content. No bias towards your Thunder, giving props when it's due and being practical that OKC is just better than every team. Thank you. It's about time somebody gave me some respect. So, since March 1st, over the last month plus, the Nuggets, 8-11, 20th in point differential, 23rd defensively, only 10th offensively. That's not going to cut it. If you're going to be this Nuggets team, you got to be a top 5, top 3 offense through and through. Their defense has just been a train wreck. Their defense has been a train wreck. It was a train wreck last night against the Pacers. Second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, Indiana just belt to ass against the Denver Nuggets. I mean, look, dude, Jokic is awful defensively. Jokic is horrible on the defensive side of the basketball. Right? Like, that's just, there's no debating it. I can't believe this is even something that's a conversation from time to time. Maybe in years past, Jokic has been fine defensively. And I know that there's some stats to say this is the best defensive season of his career or whatever the case may be. Dude, he's horrific defensively. He was awful yesterday on the defensive side of things. Now, it's not his fault that this is happening. I mean, they're playing Jalen Pickett big minutes. Jalen Pickett had a brutal turnover towards the end of this game. And that's kind of, and Jalen Pickett's given them some pretty good minutes, but that's kind of the thing with this Nuggets team is you're going to be late in games, and like Jalen Pickett's going to be somebody who's maybe dictating the game. Aaron Gordon has just been dealing with these lingering calf injuries all season long, and is just doesn't look like Aaron Gordon defensively, right? When he was one of the best defensive players in the entire NBA, Aaron Gordon was, and was sort of the linchpin of this Nuggets defense. That just doesn't feel like that's there anymore. It's kind of unfortunate. Shooting really well from 3 this year, but to be fair, Indy was a few blown games away from Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals from sweeping the Mavs last June. Half joke. They're pretty damn good. No. The Pacers are a good team. The Pacers are a good team who've been one of the better teams in the league for like an extended period of time at this point. Like I'm just looking at since March 1st, the Pacers are 6th in net rating. So the Pacers are good. The Pacers are good at hunting mismatches. Absolutely. We know with Rick and what this Pacers team does, because we've seen it firsthand, is they're going to make your centers work because they've got Miles Turner who can stretch the floor. Even Thomas Bryant coming off the bench shoots threes. But, they're going to try and stretch the floor on you. And also, they're going to get your worst defender in the action almost every single time. And that's what happened last night. That's what happened yesterday. Just eating the Nuggets alive. Putting Jokic in the action almost every single time. And also just letting Miles Turner trail the play. Just knowing, hey, you catch the ball at the top of the key, Jokic is not going to get out to you in time. Just imagine if they actually traded Miles Turner when the rumors began in 1991 of him being on the trade block. A shout out to Jarris Walker, too. Jarris Walker had a great game in this one. I'm not selling my Jarris Walker stock. I'm still all in on him. I'm still a believer, even though I think he'll probably be on a different team soon, just because they have to consolidate some assets. But I'm worried about the Denver Nuggets. The way things are trending, it's absolutely possible and on the table. I mean, the Nuggets had, 3 turnovers in the last 60, 70 seconds of this game. but absolutely on the table that they are a play-in team. Like, what? Is that not crazy? How the fuck did we get here? How did we get here? Does Jarris qualify as a future former Mavs because of our Hopium pre-draft in 2023? No, because I don't think it was ever really possible. Taylor Hendricks is closer to fitting that. Grizzlies, too. Yeah, it's very possible our 7-8 playing matchup is Grizzlies-Nuggets, which that would have felt impossible a couple months ago. So do you think Jokic leaves the Nuggets anytime soon? No, I don't, but I do feel like the walls have to be closing in on Michael Malone, huh? Like they have to be. Has to be closed. They have to be closing in. So, what's your opinion on the stock market crash? We need your analysis. Slightly biased stock is just permanently going up, so we're good on that front. Nuggets front office worse than the Bucks. Both championship winners. I kind of feel like the Bucks have at least made the home run swing for Dame, although it does feel like it's probably going to come up short. They've been unlucky with injuries. So have the Nuggets, to be fair. The Nuggets, it feels like fumble the bag a little bit more, if that makes sense, than the Bucks. Shams. Portland Trailblazers general manager Joe Cronin has agreed to a multi-year contract extension. How about that? Joe Cronin re-upping with the Blazers. Nuggets fundamental problem. MPJ was barely playable in the bubble. He's not much better now. Yeah, MPJ's career has just been interesting, and he's not somebody you can realistically rely on. And he's making $30 million a year. Because I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, all right, let's say the Nuggets make the play-in tournament. God forbid they lose in the play-in tournament. But whatever. It feels like they're going to be an early playoff exit, regardless of what happens. Are they a team that feels desperate to like re-enter the Kevin Durant, a potential Kevin Durant sweepstake? Then I was thinking more. I was like, okay, let's say that they are desperate enough and they're like, yeah, we've got picks opening up this offseason. Let's trade for KD. Let's go for it. The Suns, are you like super amped about Michael Porter Jr. being the return? Are you super amped about like potentially Jamal Murray being the return? Like, not really. That's kind of where we're at. You also had this right here. Now, I don't know about. Now, this account scares me. I have to be honest with you. Like when we get super into like this guy's a Denver guy. But when we get into like the Jokic stance and they're all about Jokic, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't mean any offense by this to any Jokic stance in here, but I do get a little bit worried about where we're headed when we're talking about players. I get a little bit concerned about certain verbiage that's going to be used. But the Nuggets fans are very upset by Russell Westbrook's sick jacket, by the way, but his comments following the game. Just pathetic. Westbrook avoids the media for 3 games after he screwed up versus the Wolves. League gives him a warning, and this is how he reacts. 17-year vet, and bro acts like a child, just zero accountability. Get this bum out of Denver right now.
You guys need to clean up right now and get right before the end of the regular season.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Your coach just mentioned the urgency of the situation, trying to avoid the play-in right now. Do you feel like in this locker room there's a sense of urgency?
I don't know, man. Not sure.
Michael Morris called this team one of the most resilient in the league this season. You obviously are able to draw from so many experiences. What can you kind of try to draw from to help this team in a situation like this where you're coming?
I don't know. I don't have the answer for you, man. I wish I did, but unfortunately, I don't.
What's frustrating you the most right now?
I mean, probably just losing. You know.
Where's the confidence that this group can figure something out in the next 3 games and, be on the right path heading into the postseason?
I hope it's high. I can't speak for everybody in the locker room, but my head stays high and get ready for Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the first time I listened to that.
You guys need to clean up.
That just feels like a Russell Westbrook media availability, does it not? I don't know. I don't know how much I could take away from that. I don't. Here's the thing. I'd feel differently if I watched Nuggets games and I thought, man, Russ feels like he's quitting on the floor. I do not think that whatsoever. I feel like you can't question Russell Westbrook's hustle and determination to win games during the game. You know what I mean? Now, does he have some fuck ups? Absolutely. Does he have some brain farts? Absolutely. Is he frustrating sometimes? Absolutely. But I would read more into this type of press conference if I watched the game yesterday and I was like, oh man, I feel like Russ is giving up on the season. You get what I mean? Which I don't feel like. So I don't know. I feel like this isn't nothing really, but it does. It speaks to the point where it's just like Russell Westbrook's been very important for this team, especially with Jamal Murray injured or Jamal Murray dealing with this constant lingering injury stuff that he's had all season long. Russ has been important for them. I do think he's been solid, by and large, for most of the season, especially defensively. Been pretty important for them. And that's the problem. And that's the problem right there. What was so bad about that answer? Yeah, I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest with you. I just had that bookmark because I saw people were upset about it. I thought that would be worse than what it was. It's like, it goes back. I've made this point a million times, like Dinwiddie now for the Mavs, where it's like, you know who that guy is. It's not a secret. It's not a secret who Russell Westbrook is. Russell Westbrook's been 17 years in the league. What is he, 34, 35 years old? It's not a secret who Russell Westbrook is. We know who Russell Westbrook is. We know what he does. We know what he's capable of doing. We know his inefficiencies. So it's like, is it his fault for when he does have the occasional fuck-ups or when defenses are sagging off of him or when he's missing mid-range jumpers? Or is it the team's fault for putting themselves in a position where they are now reliant on that? I know the answer. It was the same thing, Spencer Dinwiddie. Are we really mad about Spencer Dinwiddie or mad about the fact that Spencer Dinwiddie is now in this position? How did we get here? It was what I always said about Dwight Powell. Why are we spending so much time being angry at Dwight Powell? We know who Dwight Powell is. Everyone knows who Dwight Powell is. Is it Dwight Powell's fault that he is the starting center on a team that wants to contend at the highest level? Not really. I definitely like Westbrook, but it sucks how emotional he can get. Yeah, but we've known all that. We have known all of that. Jokic has continuously empowered Russ to be Russ, and I do think by and large, for what Russ is wasn't Russ a minimum signing? I feel like he's been fine. Dwight Powell got that dog in him, though. Do an NFL mock draft. Why do you guys want to see that? What is there to gain by that?